Welcome back to RGR Football. This is Chiefs by the Numbers, where we're going to go over the incomplete and honestly the most important week-to-week, day-to-day stats about this particular matchup. The Chiefs just came off of the win against the Falcons at home in Week 16. We have a lot to talk about. I'm Ryan. This is my channel, Ryan Going Rogue. If you're new, make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification because we do a ton of work around here. It is stats on Tuesday, but we will have film here during the midweek from both Dan and I. We'll have a game plan for you next week, which should be very interesting against the Chargers. We don't know who's going to play at this point. And then we do have the pregame tailgate. We have the postgame live stream. We have the Monday night Q&A, and then we have all the member content for those of you who choose to become members here. We appreciate all of your time. And this particular one is one of my pets. This is a process that I've been going through for a number of years and finally decided to show it to people. As you know, I run Rogue Analytics, and the draft content, the athletic matrix itself is everywhere. It's what I do all spring long and is very public. These things, this is the first year that I've done this, and this is almost the culmination. We have one more game to go, and this has been an eye-opening process, not just from me tracking it, but by sharing it with everyone. And I boil it down to the things that are most important to the philosophy that I think the Chiefs use to their advantage and that I actually covet in some ways as well. And this is something you'll see every week, and I want to point out a couple of things. What they did in terms of the offensive output on a per-play basis, depending on all the different personnel groups, who got injured, who didn't, who was in there, who wasn't. 6 yards per play this game against the Falcons. The Falcons do have the number 12 defense in DVOA overall. The team has played 5 of the top 12 this season. And quite frankly, the Miami Dolphins were in the top 10 at the time. So that tells you a lot. What this was a big bump up in terms of per play. And that's just because of the play call, because of the defense that was being played. But to see them bounce back, what was a season low last week, is good. Their season average for the entire year is 6.42. So this is, again, approaching the average all through the ups and downs. And when we get past this next game, I will give you, during the bye week, the year-long look at the 3 most important, at least the top 2, that I feel are the most important things to track for this season that has been very much about developing new ways to accomplish old goals. That's going to come into play as we hit the playoffs as well. But that's not the only thing. It is about efficiency in what teams have decided to try to do in terms of limiting the Chiefs in their opportunities to score points. And this week, they hit a new dip, down to 30%. They scored on only 3 of their 10 drives. There were some mistakes. There was a lot of play that I think could have taken advantage of some things that were there, that because of the reasons that we spoke about on the Q&A and a couple of other places, especially the Locked On Chiefs podcast. Go subscribe to that if you haven't yet. That's where you can hear me and Chris Clark break everything down every day of the week. There are some things there that trying to accomplish goals, I think, overshadowed some of the things that were there for the taking, and so that stalled a few drives out. Luckily, though that is an 8% fall off, and 3 out of 10 is not what you want, we're looking for 50% plus. The fact that 2 of the 3 scoring drives were touchdowns, that is a positive takeaway and something that you can lean on going forward. Now, this is situational. I don't think this is anything to get too fired up about in terms of their outlook. A lot of talking heads this week are going to be telling you that, they're ripe for an upset. You'll even hear that from some people that I respect, and I'm pretty shocked by it because that is not really the case. It is waiting for the Inspirado for them to kick in and take over so that they go win these games. Unfortunately, they're getting lulled to sleep a little bit. And one group that isn't getting lulled to sleep because they're contributing continually, and then, again, another metric that we have tracked all season long, first-round pick did not play in this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, second game during this season that he was not available to play. And yet they still were able to bump up their numbers as a class. The rookie class contributing is utterly important. And you've seen the emergence, not just of Tershawn Wharton, but Mike Dana. And now Willie Gay is coming on, as we've been talking about all season, and he should be. And it's leading up to the point where now you have to consider that despite the Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been very good in his role, L'Jarius Sneed has been better in his, and I think he is the rookie of the rookie class this particular season. So kudos to him. Both of them leading their respective units in snaps overall. I think that's something that is going to continue to grow as we get closer to coming down the line to the playoff run. Sneed is improving in a number of ways. We'll look at him later in the week, along with Willie and maybe a couple other things on the film review that I'll do for Thursday. Dan will have film on Wednesday as well. Now, pass rush is something that you have to have, and it goes hand in hand with playing good defense at the backside in the secondary. And we saw a couple of weeks where they had great play in the secondary, back-to-back weeks with 9 PBUs apiece. And that came with some increased pressure. The pressure fell off a little bit this week, just minus 2%. But it is a veteran quarterback, and that does make a little bit more sense. Still, they were able to get a lot of pressure and a lot of hits. And that's really, again, the thing we're going to talk about in a second that can make or break part of a season for you. It's something that you can't just let go. Those contacts with the quarterback is what changes the scope of the game from the quarterback's perspective, and you cannot underestimate its ability to do that. The Chiefs hit, according to the game book, 12 hits on Matt Ryan to go with the 4 sacks. PFF had it a little bit different. I am going to use the PFF numbers just because I've been using them all season, and I want to keep it consistent. And so that's where we come out here at 49% pressure rate. Which we're going to have a look later, I think, maybe again in the bye week, but certainly after the season, about where some of the guys that I told you about preseason ended up in their ability to pressure the quarterback, their ability to stop the pass. You're going to see some things that are fairly eye-opening, and I want to equate them so that it makes sense as we get into the next draft cycle as well. But one thing that's been a thorn in the heel of these Kansas City Chiefs has been their tackling ability. We've seen a lot of ups and downs. It has been a roller coaster this season, and I am happy to report that as we take a look at that metric in particular, it has stabilized a little bit. We have seen a second week where they're sub-5 missed tackles. Yes, it did creep up one, but that is a pretty good outing. Anything under 5 you can be happy with, and understand that there are players in this league that are shifty, that will make you miss, and that's got to be baked into the equation. That's why a couple per game is acceptable and, quite frankly, understood to be what they should be seeing. This is a positive, especially when you had so many young players on the field at the linebacker level in particular against the Falcons. This is a takeaway that you can have some pride in and be happy with the output, as, again, these guys might have to play not only in Week 17, they definitely will, but in some relief in any kind of injury situation in the playoff run. And that brings me to the thing that is concerning for me, and that is the opposite of what we were talking about earlier about getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The problem is the last 2 weeks, the Chiefs have allowed Patrick to be hit 12 times. That's too much. 13 times. That is too much. In this game in particular, he was hit 4 out of 15 pressures. That's a pretty good percentage, and that is, again, with the shifting of the offensive line, something that they have to get a hold of. And I do feel that there has been some stubbornness in what the lineup should be versus what the lineup has been. And that is putting some extra risk on not just getting pressure on Patrick, because we all know that when he gets pressure, there is the upside that a lot of the time ends in a positive play rather than a negative. But the downside is that contacts with Patrick in the backfield generally are ones that he loses. If he makes contact with someone down the field, he's generally in a position that he's got momentum, he's got things on his side that prevent injury from being the only outcome. But the more that he's hit by pressures in the backfield, the more that we have to be concerned. And now it's down to 3 important games left. A divisional, a championship in the AFC, and then the Super Bowl itself. That's what they have to get it under control. If they have a couple of weeks to do it, I hope that they can. We're going to take a look at a couple of the wrinkles that go on, not only from this last week here as we look at the film, but next week as well, to see where can they ratchet that down and get better control of how many times they allow Patrick to be hit. That's it for me today. If you're new, make sure you hit the like and the sub and the bell notification so you know when the next video comes out. It will be tomorrow afternoon in a film review from Dan Harms, and we'll have more for you all week long. We'll consider this. A lot of you I know come to us through various means during the season. Don't worry. We will have Chiefs coverage for you all off season as well. We will set that schedule when that time comes around, but there is a lot of work to be done, and I'm glad you guys are here for it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.